Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're putting on our global affairs analyst hats to decode something literally massive: China's state-led push into artificial intelligence. We are right in the middle of a global tech race that's completely reshaping our world. And to really understand it, we have to look past the daily news cycle and dig into the massive, overarching motivations that are driving one of the world's major superpowers.
So let's just dive right in. President Xi Jinping has laid out a very clear mandate to achieve this quote-unquote great rejuvenation of China by the year 2049. And here's what's absolutely crucial to grasp. He doesn't just view AI as some neat economic tool. Not at all. It's seen as the literal engine required to build an advanced, prosperous, modern society by that 2049 deadline. The mindset here is simple. Whoever masters AI is going to be one of the most powerful and influential countries on the planet.
To wrap our heads around this complex topic efficiently, we've organized today's briefing into 5 strategic pillars: the battle for narratives, solving the labor crisis, the army of no man, the push for self-reliance, and state versus market strategies.
Let's kick things off with pillar number 1, the battle for narratives.
This battle is heavily rooted in ideology. Because you see, China's leadership is acutely aware that AI language models aren't just objective truth tellers, right? They're totally imbued with the philosophies, the histories, and the ideas of whoever creates them. So, how do you control that narrative? You start in the classroom. Just look at this progression. Starting as early as age 6, elementary kids are interacting with robots just to spark their interest. Then by middle school, they're already diving into AI ethics, privacy, and social responsibility. And by high school, they're literally studying back-end engineering and AI creation. It's wild. The whole goal is to make absolutely sure the next generation is completely comfortable embracing and eventually building the tech that shapes global narratives. They're not taught to fear it, they're taught to champion it.
Moving right along to pillar number 2, solving the labor crisis.
So to counter China's aging population and this looming demographic labor shortage, AI is being deployed as a massive, vital bridge. You know that era of a huge, super cheap human labor force that fueled China's crazy economic growth? Well, that era is facing an end. To see the solution, take a look at this chillingly efficient description of a new factory robot designed by a company called Ubitech. It doesn't rest, doesn't sleep, doesn't take breaks, doesn't eat, doesn't complain, and it works 24/7. These specific robots are already being rolled out in electric vehicle factories. Get this, a robot can even reach into its own back to swap out a low battery without ever missing a beat on the assembly line. I mean, it is the ultimate endless worker.
And listen, this isn't just some one-off prototype. Just look at the highlights from the recent World Robotics Conference in Beijing. Over 200 companies showed up with a massive focus on what they're calling embodied intelligence. That basically means giving AI a physical form. We are talking about robots fighting in a boxing ring, robotic baristas whipping up lattes, and these freakishly realistic humanoid designs with actual silicone skin and synchronized eye movements. The major takeaway here? China is pouring billions into embodied intelligence to guarantee that robots can step up and fill the shoes of the human labor force across basically every industry.
Which brings us to pillar number 3, the army of no man.
So, beyond the factory floor, this tech is fundamentally overhauling China's modern military doctrine. During a recent massive military parade in Beijing, analysts noticed a very stark shift toward components of an unmanned military. We're talking swarm attacks, completely autonomous submarine vehicles, unmanned ships, and AI-driven battlefield scanning. Analysts are recognizing a definitive, hard pivot toward an army of no man. And if you think about it, it makes total sense. If you remove human soldiers from ships and submarines, you suddenly don't have to worry about defending or sustaining the personnel on board. It completely flips the calculus of global defense, and AI is right at the absolute center of the whole thing.
Okay, let's look at pillar number 4, the push for self-reliance. Now, powering all this highly advanced military and industrial AI requires an insane amount of computing power, and that has turned microchips into a massive geopolitical battleground. On one side, the prior U.S. administration's systematic strategy was to restrict access to top-tier semiconductors, essentially to choke off Chinese military applications. But check out the reaction. While it was initially devastating to Chinese tech companies, this restriction inadvertently lit a huge fire under their policymakers. It totally accelerated a slow, painful, but incredibly well-funded state-led drive for absolute domestic chip self-reliance.
And wow, this domestic push has yielded some truly stunning results. Enter DeepSeek. This homegrown Chinese AI company basically shocked Washington recently by proving they can actually go toe-to-toe with established global giants like OpenAI and Google. DeepSeek's rapid emergence really challenges Western narratives. It showed the US tech industry just how resilient and globally competitive China's AI capabilities have actually become, even with all those intense export controls in place.
And finally, pillar number 5, state versus market strategies.
This really highlights a profound philosophical divide in how different nations are navigating this whole tech race. Notice the sharp contrast here. The Western approach is often cautious, it's largely market-driven, and honestly, it's highly fearful of the societal impact of job losses and labor disruption. But on the flip side, the Chinese approach is this enthusiastic, state-led, completely all-in strategy mandated straight from the top. Because they're staring down that massive demographic crisis we talked about, they view AI as a total savior, not a job stealer. They are absolutely refusing to leave their future global influence up to the whims of the free market.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a really crucial question to chew on. As AI reshapes global power dynamics, will an enthusiastic, state-led master plan ultimately outpace a cautious, market-driven approach? It's a massive question of strategy, ideology, and really, survival that is absolutely going to define the future of our world. Thank you so much for joining me to decode this. Keep questioning the world around you, and I'll see you in the next explainer.